From translation, Net New English Translation. This 284th day of the year. Today we are reading passages Matthew 22 to 23. Matthew chapter 22, verses 1 to 46. Jesus spoke to them again in parables, saying, "The kingdom of heaven may be compared to a king who gave a wedding banquet for his son. He sent his slaves to summon those who had been invited to the wedding banquet, but they would not come. Again he sent other slaves, saying, 'Tell those who have been invited, look, I have prepared my dinner, my oxen and my fattened cattle have been butchered, and everything is ready. Come to the wedding banquet.' But they paid no attention and went away, one to his own farm, another to his business, while the rest seized his slaves, treated them shamefully, and killed them. The king was furious. He sent his soldiers, destroyed those murderers, and burned their city. Then he said to his slaves, 'The wedding banquet is ready, but those who had been invited were not worthy. So go into the main streets and invite everyone you find to the wedding banquet.' And those slaves went out into the streets and gathered all they found, both bad and good, and the wedding hall was filled with guests. But when the king came in to view the guests, he saw a man there who was not dressed in wedding clothes. So he said, 'Friend, how did you get in here without wedding clothes?' And the man speechless. Then the king said to his attendants, 'Tie him hand and foot and throw him into the outer darkness, where there will be weeping and gnashing of teeth. For many are called, but few are chosen.' Then the Pharisees went and plotted how they might trap him in what he said. So they sent their disciples to him, along with the Herodians, saying, 'Teacher, we know that you are truthful and teach the way of God in accordance with the truth. You are not concerned about anyone's opinion, for you do not regard people with partiality. Tell us then, what do you think? Is it lawful to pay taxes to Caesar or not?' But Jesus perceived their evil and said, 'Why are you testing me, you hypocrites? Show me the coin used for paying the tax.' So they brought him a denarius. Jesus said to them, 'Whose image and inscription is this?' When they heard this, they were amazed, and leaving him, they went away. That same day Sadducees came to him, who say there is no resurrection, and they asked him a question. 'Teacher, Moses said, if a man dies without having children, his brother must marry the widow and father children for his brother. Now there were 7 brothers among us. The oldest married and died, and having no children, he left his wife to his brother. So the second married her and died, and the same happened with the third, and so on to the 7th. Finally the woman died too. Now in the resurrection, whose wife of the 7 will she be, since they all married her?' Jesus answered them, 'You are deceived, because you don't know the scriptures or the power of God. For in the resurrection neither do they marry, nor are they given in marriage, but are like angels in heaven. But as for the resurrection of the dead, have you not read what was spoken to you by God, when he said, I am the God of Abraham, the God of Isaac, and the God of Jacob. He is not the God of the dead, but of the living.' When the crowds heard this, they were astonished at his teaching. But when the Pharisees heard that he had silenced the Sadducees, they assembled together. And one of them, an expert in religious law, tested him by asking, 'Teacher, which commandment in the law is the greatest?' Jesus said to him, 'Love the Lord your God with all your heart, with all your soul, and with all your mind. This is the first and greatest commandment. The second is like it. Love your neighbor as yourself. All the law and the prophets depend on these 2 commandments.' Now while the Pharisees were assembled, Jesus asked them a question, 'What do you think about the Christ? Whose son is he?' They said to him, 'The son of David.' He said to them, 'How then does David by the Spirit call him Lord, saying, The Lord said to my Lord, Sit at my right hand until I put your enemies under your feet? If David then calls him Lord, how can he be his son?' No one was able to answer him at all, and from that day on no one dared to ask him any more questions." Matthew chapter 23, verses 1 to 39. Then Jesus said to the crowds and to his disciples, "The teachers of the law and the Pharisees sit on Moses' seat, so you must obey them and do everything they tell you. But do not do what they do, for they do not practice what they preach. They tie up heavy, cumbersome loads and put them on other people's shoulders, but they themselves are not willing to lift a finger to move them. Everything they do is done for people to see. They make their phylacteries wide and the tassels on their garments long. They love the place of honor at banquets and the most important seats in the synagogues. They love to be greeted with respect in the marketplaces and to be called Rabbi by others. But you are not to be called Rabbi, for you have one teacher and you are all brothers. And do not call anyone on earth Father, for you have one Father and he is in heaven. Nor are you to be called Teacher, for you have one Teacher, the Christ. The greatest among you will be your servant. For those who exalt themselves will be humbled, and those who humble themselves will be exalted. Woe to you, teachers of the law and Pharisees, you hypocrites! You shut the door of the kingdom of heaven in people's faces. You yourselves do not enter, nor will you let those enter who are trying to. Woe to you, teachers of the law and Pharisees, you hypocrites! You devour widows' houses and for a show make lengthy prayers, therefore you will receive greater condemnation. Woe to you, teachers of the law and Pharisees, you hypocrites! You travel over land and sea to win a single convert, and when you have succeeded, you make them twice as much a child of hell as you are. Woe to you, blind guides, who say, "Whoever swears by the temple is bound by nothing. But whoever swears by the gold of the temple is bound by the oath." You blind fools, which is greater, the gold or the temple that makes the gold sacred? You also say, "Whoever swears by the altar is bound by nothing, but whoever swears by the gift on it is bound by the oath." You blind men! Which is greater, the gift or the altar that makes the gift sacred? Therefore, whoever swears by the altar swears by it and by everything on it. And whoever swears by the temple swears by it and by the one who dwells in it. And whoever swears by heaven swears by God's throne and by the one who sits on it. Woe to you, teachers of the law and Pharisees, you hypocrites! You give a tenth of your mint, dill, and cumin, but you have neglected the more important matters of the law, justice, mercy, and faithfulness. You should have practiced the latter without neglecting the former. You blind guides! You strain out a gnat but swallow a camel. Woe to you, teachers of the law and Pharisees, you hypocrites! You clean the outside of the cup and dish, but inside they are full of greed and self-indulgence. Blind Pharisee, first clean the inside of the cup and dish, and then the outside also will be clean. Woe to you, teachers of the law and Pharisees, you hypocrites! You are like whitewashed tombs, which look beautiful on the outside, but inside are full of the bones of the dead and of everything unclean. In the same way, on the outside you appear to people as righteous, but inside you are full of hypocrisy and wickedness. Woe to you, teachers of the law and Pharisees, you hypocrites! You build tombs for the prophets and decorate the grave of the righteous. And you say, "If we had lived in the days of our ancestors, we would not have shared in their shedding of the blood of the prophets." So you testify against yourselves that you are descendants of those who murdered the prophets. Fill up then the measure of the sin of your ancestors. You snakes, you brood of vipers, how will you escape being condemned to hell? Therefore I am sending you prophets and wise men and teachers. Some of you will kill and crucify them, and some you will flog in your synagogues and persecute from town to town, so that on you will come all the righteous blood that has been shed on the earth, from the blood of righteous Abel to the blood of Zechariah son of Berechiah, whom you murdered between the temple and the altar. I tell you the truth, all this will come on this generation. Jerusalem, Jerusalem, you who kill the prophets and stone those who are sent to you. How often I have longed to gather your children together, as a hen gathers her chicks under her wings, but you were not willing. Look, your house is left to you desolate. For I tell you, you will not see me again until you say, "Blessed is he who comes in the name of the Lord."